After analyzing hundreds of guest reviews and figures that MGM likely omits from their glossy financial reports, I have uncovered a troubling reality about one of Las Vegas's most beloved hotels. Let us turn back the clock to the day the Cosmopolitan opened. It was not just a building, it was a statement. It was an icon of modern luxury, offering rare private balconies overlooking the vibrant Strip, an amenity almost unheard of in Vegas. It was home to the Chandelier Bar, a massive crystal centerpiece serving masterfully crafted cocktails. The atmosphere was once distinctive, refined, and full of life. However, a quiet undercurrent of disappointment is emerging. Loyal guests returning to the Cosmopolitan recently have encountered a jarring shift in their experience. The attentive service, once a point of pride, is now drawing complaints. The luxurious touches, no matter how small, are gradually fading. That distinct soul appears to be giving way to a colder, calculated industrialization. So, how is an icon of luxury dangerously close to becoming an overpriced letdown? This is not a random decline. It may be the result of a deliberate corporate strategy where spreadsheet numbers are prioritized over your personal experience. If you have ever appreciated the unique character of the Cosmo or are considering booking a room for your next trip, stay with me to uncover the real story behind those glamorous doors. To understand why this change is so regrettable, we need to look back at the Cosmopolitan's golden age before it was acquired by MGM. The story begins in 2014, when the investment firm Blackstone bought the hotel for $1.7 billion. At the time, the Cosmo was struggling financially, and Blackstone saw untapped potential. They did not just run it, they launched a remarkable transformation, pouring another $500 million into a complete remodel of over 3,000 rooms, renovating the casino floor, and bringing in a lineup of world-class restaurants and bars. Blackstone did not tighten the belt. They invested heavily in quality, believing that a premium experience would deliver a premium return. And they were right. The Cosmo's distinction was not just its balconies with million-dollar views overlooking the legendary Bellagio fountains, an image forever tied to cocktails under the Vegas nightlights. It was also in the curated experiences, from enjoying a signature drink inside the splendor of the Chandelier Bar, to the rare, thoughtful service where employees genuinely strived to make you feel special. The Cosmo quickly became one of the most successful and profitable resorts on the Strip. That success was so great that when Blackstone sold the Cosmopolitan, they structured a record-breaking deal with a total value of $5.65 billion. For Blackstone, this was the most profitable single real estate asset sale in their history, generating a gain of over $4.1 billion. This remarkable figure is the clearest evidence of the success of their experience-first philosophy. But the heart of the story is not in the numbers. In May 2022, just before handing over the hotel, Blackstone did something unprecedented. They held a town hall event and announced they would reward each of their more than 5,000 employees with a bonus of $5,000. Amid tears and applause, Blackstone sent a powerful message that it was the dedication of its people that was the most valuable asset in creating a legend. That was the legacy handed over to MGM, an icon at the height of its powers, built on guest satisfaction and employee loyalty. They should have only needed to take the reins and keep the flame burning. But unfortunately, the story took a very different turn. When MGM officially took over, in press releases and investor reports, CEO Bill Hornbuckle touted the Cosmopolitan as an iconic asset and promised to make the brand even greater. This promise, along with impressive revenue figures from the Cosmo highlighted in financial reports, painted a very optimistic picture. But there is a truth these reports never reflect. and that is the day-to-day reality for each individual guest. To be clear, the Cosmopolitan is still a very highly rated hotel. If you glance at major platforms like Booking or Expedia, you will see average scores for service and cleanliness remain excellent, around 8.8 to 9.0 out of 10, with countless positive reviews in 2025. On the surface, everything seems perfect. However, if you take the time to dig deeper, browse travel forums like Reddit, or filter for detailed reviews, a different picture emerges. A growing undercurrent of disappointment is forming, focused on three main warning signs. Warning sign number 1: cracks in the service. This is the most common and disheartening complaint from longtime guests. Where a quick and friendly check-in process was once a plus, complaints about having to wait in very long lines, especially on weekends, are now becoming commonplace. The bars, once the soul of the Cosmo, are criticized for being slow due to understaffing. Housekeeping service, according to some guests, is no longer consistent, sometimes being missed or just done superficially, lacking the meticulous touch of the past. Warning sign number 2: the disappearance of luxury details. This is what is eroding the special feeling guests once loved. The most typical example mentioned by many on forums and in video reviews is the premium personal toiletries being replaced with large pump dispensers mounted directly on the wall. Although this is a general trend in the hotel industry to reduce plastic waste and costs, for a place like the Cosmo, it sends a message of commoditization. Similarly, the in-room iPad, once used to control everything from lights and curtains to ordering services, has also been removed from many rooms. These things may sound trivial, but they add up and take away the feeling of being pampered and unique that guests seek. Warning sign number 3: signs of neglected infrastructure. Perhaps the most serious issue is the state of the elevators, especially in the Chelsea Tower. A steady stream of guests have complained about elevators frequently being out of service, causing long waits in a high-rise building. While there have been no official reports of serious safety incidents, this persistent inconvenience is a major blemish on the image of a five-star resort. One longtime guest bitterly summed up the general feeling on a forum saying, "The experience is now becoming more like MGM's other mid-range hotels, but the price is still at the Cosmopolitan's level. When you pay a premium price but feel the value you receive is no longer commensurate, that is when loyalty begins to break." A quick question: have you personally experienced this change in service at the Cosmopolitan or another hotel in Vegas? Share your story in the comments. To understand why an icon like the Cosmopolitan is changing so quickly, we have to examine the structure of this deal. MGM does not actually own the Cosmopolitan building. They only paid $1.6 billion to acquire the operating rights. The physical real estate was sold to another group of investors for over $4 billion. Immediately afterward, MGM signed a contract to lease back that same building for a starting price of $200 million per year. Let that number sink in. That is equivalent to over $500,000 every single day, just for rent. This financial obligation is a colossal burden, and to cover that rent while generating profit for shareholders, MGM must find every possible way to streamline operations and cut costs. And this is where the MGM touch comes in. First is standardization. MGM is a machine that manages a massive portfolio of resorts. To operate efficiently, they fold everything into a unified system. The Cosmo's generous identity loyalty program, once a source of pride for loyal guests, was discontinued and merged into MGM. Rewards, a program known for being stingier and harder to earn perks from. For MGM, this was a logical business move outlined in investor reports. But for those who had spent years loyal to the Cosmo, it was a letdown and felt like a betrayal. Next is slashing operating costs. This is the quickest way to boost profit on a spreadsheet. But in the luxury service industry, the employees are the product. When MGM optimized staffing levels at check-in counters, bars, and housekeeping departments to reduce labor costs, the consequences were immediately visible in guest complaints. Long wait times, exhausted employees, and the disappearance of personalized service. The cozy boutique feel was replaced by the impersonality of an assembly line. Replacing small items like shampoo bottles with large pumps also falls under this logic. Every decision, no matter how minute, is put on a spreadsheet to be weighed and measured. The problem is, what made the Cosmopolitan valuable were the intangible factors that cannot be captured by numbers. The atmosphere, the sense of exclusivity, and the dedicated service. Essentially, this is a clash of two business philosophies. Blackstone built brand value around the guest experience, believing that excellence would naturally drive profit. MGM operates by the spreadsheet, believing that financial efficiency is paramount. By imposing a standardized model to meet the crushing pressure of rent, MGM is inadvertently erasing the very reasons that made the Cosmopolitan special. They are turning it into just another MGM hotel, only more expensive and with balconies. But when you strip away the soul of an icon, what is left but an expensive shell? So, in the final analysis, what is the true story of the Cosmopolitan under MGM? This is a classic case study of the battle between brand identity and spreadsheet efficiency. MGM made a shrewd financial move to seize control of one of the hottest assets on the Strip, but the price is unrelenting pressure to cut costs. Their standardization machine has been applied, and the result is an ongoing process of MGM-ification, turning a unique brand into a more predictable link in a giant supply chain. We cannot say that the Cosmopolitan has collapsed. The hotel is still there, the location is still prime, and the balconies are still an undeniable advantage. But what is truly being eroded is the brand's intangible value. In an effort to make the Cosmopolitan operate more efficiently on paper, MGM seems to be eliminating the very reasons that made guests willing to pay a premium to stay there. The unique feel, the personalized service, and the small, luxurious details. In the long run, this is a rather risky gamble. When the core customers, those who loved the Cosmo for its distinctiveness, feel the value they receive is no longer worth the premium, they will leave. And then, MGM will be left with a beautiful but soulless building, forced to compete on price with all the other hotels on the Strip, losing its unique standing. This story also reflects a larger trend happening in Las Vegas: corporatization. Giant corporations are acquiring independent properties and imposing uniform models on them. The sense of adventure, uniqueness, and slight rebelliousness of Vegas is gradually being replaced by a somewhat cold and calculated efficiency. If you're planning a trip to Vegas and want to know what the real cost is, check out our next video, where we break down the budget for a 3-day trip in detail. And if this video was helpful to you, please subscribe to the channel for more content like this to help you travel smarter.